Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. Ray Flowers breaks it all down for you from a fantasy sports perspective. Happy Halloween, everybody. Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. Hope you're doing. Ooh, look at the options we have here. Should we do it? Maybe we should do it. Let's see if this actually does anything. Where's the spooky banner? Oh my gosh. Something's supposed to have happened. Nothing's happening. Let's see what happens. Is it spooky? Nah, well. I was told I have spooky stuff here for Halloween. It didn't happen. That's okay. We're still going to soldier on. I am Ray Flowers with my... Interestingly enough, I couldn't find my orange wig this morning. For those people wondering what I'm talking about, I'll explain it here in a second. But this is the David Blumpkins outfit, which surprisingly enough, I actually bought like 2 weeks before Tom Hanks was on Saturday Night Live. So I actually had it without even knowing it was a Tom Blumpkins thing. Anyway, I'm only wearing the jacket now. I have orange sweatpants on. I didn't put the suspenders and the pants on today. But hopefully wherever you're celebrating Halloween, that it's a good day for you. Look at my shoulders. Look a little. There we go. Stand straight, Ray. Hopefully the day will have you well, a little spooky, but not too spooky, and you'll have a good one. Yeah, I thought you'd dress up the air vent, according to Ethan. You know what? That's a good idea. I probably should have. I didn't, but I probably should have. Again, I'm Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. A little all over the place this morning because it's not often that you're called the soup Nazi of fantasy football. Had a gent this morning send me a question, and I'll pose a question to all of you before we get into the show. Someone sent me a question. They follow me on Twitter X at the Ray Flowers. You can find me there. You can find me on social media as at the Ray Flowers. And they sent me a question, and then they actually sent me the question 3 other times. The 3 other times they sent me the question, for some reason, they tagged me while they're asking every other analyst in fantasy football. The interesting thing was the person tagged me once solo, and then the 3 follow-up tweets were all to me and XYZ and XYZ and ABC. But he would address them with the name change. So he somehow changed the name. So he put the name of the people he was sending it to in the question, but kept tagging me on it. So I eventually said, look, I'm not here to crowdsource answers. And then the guy, of course, didn't know what crowdsourcing meant. So I had to explain what crowdsourcing meant. Then called me the soup Nazi for all my rules. Is it wrong of me to say I'm not there on social media to crowdsource? Is it wrong of me to say if you're going to ask 9 people, just ask 8 of them and don't ask me? What do you think? I mean, because to me, this is a very obvious, easy one. Of course, I upset this person. He called me the soup Nazi or the fantasy Nazi for all the soup Nazi reference to Seinfeld. If you don't know what that is, look it up. But yeah, apparently. And then the response was, well, I'm asking everybody. And if everyone agrees, I know it's the right call. If people don't agree, then I know it's not the right call. It's not the point. And this is why social media, name calling and all this is, not knowing the etiquette of how to ask a question. Okay, fine. But name calling, it's just like, this is why we don't do social media much anymore at FantasyGuru.com. This is why we do everything in the Discord. This is why we encourage you to join the site. This is the same person that accused me the other day of not talking waiver wire when we talk waiver wire on the show. Literally the day he accused me of not doing any waiver wire stuff for 20 minutes. We spent 20 minutes on this show, you and I, talking waivers that very morning. So anyway, yeah. And again, Gavin, if you want to ask me and Jeff Mans, you want to ask me and Armando Marsal, you want to ask me and Russell Clay, who we're going to have on the show a little bit later. You want to ask Russell Clay and Armando Marsal? Sure. That's what Discord's for. I got it. I understand that. But asking 10 fantasy analysts the same question that work at 10 different websites that all trying to, make money and make a living doing this. That's another thing too. No one, at least I can speak for myself. I don't know about anyone else. I've been in this industry. This is my full-time 25th year doing this. I've been on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio since the first day of the station. I have never had anyone at SiriusXM or anyone at any of the companies I've worked for say, Ray, if you don't answer that Twitter question, we're going to demote you or fire you. It's never happened once. No one cares. I'm being told no one cares. So it's just a weird thing. Everyone that does it on social media is doing it for free to be nice, A, and B, because they're trying to get you into their service, which is totally understandable, right? That's okay. But no one's under an obligation to do it. There are people that have followed me on social media for a decade that I know don't subscribe and never have subscribed to the site. I still answer their questions. So just be nice about it, right? However you do it, be nice about it. Just funny how some people go. Tony says, way to continue to go high as some people go low. Right? Hey, that's the thing, man, right? It's like, I try not to bring a lot of this onto the show because I know there's other avenues where that happens. And Jeff Mans is always battling some buffoon who's off his rocker, her rocker. So I try not to do it much, but it's like, it's Halloween, man. Like, come on. Name calling and not understanding basic language and and you're right, Mr. Baderman said, I think people want someone to blame when they get it wrong and someone to gravitate to when they get it right. Totally true. And again, if that's how you want to play this, if you want to go on social media and ask 20 fantasy analysts, if you want to go to Fantasy Pros and see what the 20 then do it. If you want to crowdsource your response, that's totally valid and fine. I get it. I'm not a part of that. And I don't think you should be a part of it. To me, we've talked about this a lot. Crowdsourcing an answer, all it does is remove the calls that are on the fringe, and the calls on the fringe are often the right calls. Just because everyone says to do something, is it the right thing to do? No. Everyone said to take Brian Thomas in the top 15 picks. How is that going? Everyone said to take Saquon Barkley in the top 5 picks. How's that going? He's barely inside the top 10 at the running back spot. So, anyway, we'll move on. Happy Halloween. Glad you're all here. Appreciate y'all. Let's see. What are we doing today? Let's throw it up on the screen. Oh, there's our background. Yes, it did work. So StreamYard coming through big time. Oh, I'm going to have to leave this up. Let's see if I do this. Oh, yeah. All right. We're doing it today. We got the Halloween there. Happy Halloween. They didn't lie to me. I apologize. Look at this. For those of you wondering what I'm talking about. On 3 spots, you can watch live or on demand and leave questions and comments as we're doing here. You can dress throughout the show. YouTube.com/@ElitePlusNetwork. Twitter X @FantasyGuruSite. Facebook.com/FantasyGuruHQ. In those 3 places, comments, questions, live, demand. You can see it on the background there. Thanks to StreamYard. Thank you, StreamYard. We do have Halloween background, so thank you to them. They did not misspeak. I misspoke earlier when I said that I didn't have that stuff. We've got it. What are we talking about today? We got a couple polls we're going to talk about here in a second about the quarterback position specifically. We'll review the Thursday night football game, which one side looking pretty good, one side not really looking pretty good. One side fired their GM. Did you see this information? The Dolphins fired their GM this morning. You're firing your general manager in the middle of the season. That's the problem that needs to be addressed now. Very strange timing, but anyway, we'll talk about Thursday night football. We'll talk a little bit about my Coffin corner piece, apropos the name of the article. Coffin, obviously, for Halloween here. We'll talk about that a little bit, a few of the new numbers and such there. As you can see there at the top of the screen in purple, remember, Ghost 20. This is to Monday. This is through Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it ends on Monday, or maybe it's Sunday night, depending upon when the thing gets pulled. Bottom line is use the promo code GHOST20. That gets you a 20% discount. And I think you could even double that up. I don't know the answer to this. I don't know. But I think you might even be able to add it to something like our all-in-one football package, where you can get the seasonal football, the DFS football, and the wagering football, all 3 packages of one right now. Send a note or an email, I should say. No one sends notes anymore. Send an email to support@fantasyguru.com. I should change my nomenclature. Send an email to support@fantasyguru.com if you have any questions about any of the products. Remember, the MVP product right now is also available. You can definitely use the promo code GHOST20 for that. That is everything we do besides football and baseball, which is basketball, hockey, NASCAR, PGA, MMA, soccer, horse racing. That's the MVP plan. Click the subscribe tab in the top right corner. Use the promo code GHOST20. It's our nod to you here during the holiday season. Get signed up with us over at fantasyguru.com. And in about 20 minutes, we'll talk to Russell Clay. A lot of questions. It's not on the sheet here, but we'll ask him about Travis Hunter. For those of you that missed the news, Travis Hunter hurt his knee at practice. Travis Hunter is going to miss at least 4 weeks. He's playing based on the IR. We don't know how much longer than 4 weeks it's going to be, if it is going to be longer than 4 weeks, but he will be down 4 weeks, Travis Hunter. We'll talk to Russell Clay about that situation and many others here. We have him on in a bit. Okay, let's actually go back to this screen, the big one. Okay, why am I going back to this? Because you really all want to see my jacket, I know. The background is pretty cool here for Halloween, but the real reason here that I'm doing this is because I ran a couple of polls last week, and the results were, I'm going to say, not surprising. It's kind of what I expected. As I'm pulling up the information here, The quarterback position in the olden days, we just saw Lamar Jackson return last night, right? In the olden days, quarterbacks played every game. They played all 16 games, season after season after season. The game is different now. There's bye weeks. The season's 17 games long. The style of quarterback play is different than sitting in the pocket. It's moving around and all that. So, you see a lot of quarterbacks missing time. Lamar Jackson's, the prime example of this. But we've seen quarterbacks go down. We've seen Joe Flacco go down potentially with Jake Browning, who Jake Browning stepped in for Joe Burrow. So, we're on 3 quarterbacks for the Bengals. Flacco's shoulder, he was back at practice yesterday, but how is he okay? Is it back to Browning? Like Spencer Rattler's been demoted. Tyler Shough has taken over. Obviously, Jackson Dart has taken over for the Giants. Bryce Young, Andy Dalton has gone to become a thing. Mac Jones, Brock Purdy's been a thing. Michael Penix, Kirk Cousins has been a thing. Kyler Murray, Jakobi Brissett's been a thing. Marcus Mariota, Jaden Daniels. You get the point. Quarterbacks don't play 17 games anymore. It just doesn't happen, right? So I asked, and here's the polls. I'm going to throw them up here on the screen. And they're very simple. I asked a question. Is it time to end superflex in 2 quarterback leagues? QBs get hurt so often anymore. 51% said end them. 49% said keep them going. So everyone basically agreed to disagree. So some people love the superflex. Some people love the 2 quarterback league. Personally, I don't like either one. Jeff Mans has talked a lot about this. I think the time has come to move on from this idea. It was a cool thing. Let's try it. Let's do it. But the bottom line is it's just not, because it's not about even getting a good quarterback. It's who can I grab off the waiver wire that's playing. Like how many of you in Superflex 2 quarterback leagues have been forced to play Geno Smith every week? He's been terrible. You're forced to play Cam Ward every week. He's awful. You're going Spencer Rattler, and he sucks. So you had to go. Hopefully, you could go to run to the waiver wire and get Tyler Shough, and you weren't outbid for him there, right? Was that reality or not? Justin Fields, you had Justin Fields. You're feeling good, Justin Fields. Then is he getting demoted? Is he not getting demoted? Is it Tyrod Taylor? You go out and add Tyrod Taylor. Then Tyrod Taylor's hurt and they're back to Fields. Like, this is just a mess. So I don't know how that's fun to anybody because it's not about drafting the right guy. It's about, are you fortunate enough to navigate the injuries in the waiver wire situation? So I think a very simple solution to this problem is the next poll. This one was, should fantasy football move to team quarterback so that you automatically get the backup and don't have to chase on the waiver wire? 68% of people said no. Only 32% of people said yes. You have Joe Burrow go down, an elite quarterback that you built your team around. Shouldn't you get Jake Browning? Or should you have to run to the waiver wire to get Jake Browning? So what you did is you ran to the waiver wire to get Jake Browning. You spent 50, 60, 70% of your budget, and he's awful. Then they go out and get Joe Flacco. You have no money left to bid on Joe Flacco, right? So even if you did the right thing, getting the backup quarterback when Burrow went down, the backup quarterback played poorly, he gets replaced by Joe Flacco, you got no quarterback. If you had the team quarterback, you would have Joe Flacco now. So I don't understand the reluctance. I've heard people say, well, Ray, I don't like team defense. Totally fair. I don't like team defense either. League shouldn't use team defense. I get it. But is this scenario really? Because again, this is not about doing, if you lost Joe Burrow and you got Jake Browning, you did the right thing. You had no idea they were going to make a trade to bring in Joe Flacco. No one did. So doing the right thing didn't do anything for you, and you depleted your fab budget to get Browning, so you couldn't get Joe Flacco. Right? You couldn't get Tyler Shough. You probably couldn't even get guys like Andy Dalton or Kirk Cousins if your league is aggressive. So why not just do team quarterback? You're drafting Justin Fields. You're drafting Joe Burrow. You're drafting Jordan Love. You know what you're doing when you take those teams. No? I don't know. Really weird one to me. So bottom line is, again, to rewind this, 50-50 on whether we should end Superflex in 2 quarterback leagues. And by the way, if you're going to do this, do not do 2 quarterback leagues. Even if you're in a 10-team league, don't do 2 quarterback leagues. It's just don't. Just do Superflex, right? Every league should be Superflex and not a 2 quarterback league. There's too many injuries at the quarterback position. There's too many people that hoard quarterbacks. I don't believe in we have to set roster limits. You can only have 3 quarterbacks on your roster. If someone wants to have 5 quarterbacks on the roster, it's dumb. But if they want to do it, I think they should be allowed to do it. The problem is people do it. So you don't want to be in a 2 quarterback league because, Tyler Shough, here he comes. He's going to be a starter. You go to the waiver wire. He's already on a roster. play superflex leagues. At least gives you the option, if you had Jake Browning and he's replaced by Joe Flacco and you couldn't get another quarterback, well, maybe you could still play Parker Washington that week and get some points, right? So I would play superflex leagues. But the bottom line is it's 50-50 on whether we should get rid of superflex in 2 quarterback leagues, according to this poll. But it was 2/3, 1/3. 2/3 of people saying, no way do we want to move to team quarterback. Nick, if you missed the start of the show, we will talk about this in about 15 minutes with Russell Clay. The question on the screen there is Travis Hunter news. How does it affect the Jags? Is it Parker Washington time? Is it Diami Brown time? We'll talk a little bit about that Jaguars situation with Russell Clay in a few minutes. I'm sure he'll have some great answers for us all. All right, let's go back to the main screen there. Let's go back to this screen there. Let's do some Thursday night football. And this one went about according to plan. The Ravens are suddenly surging. The Ravens, who on this show, I'm pretty sure I said, oh boy, it's over. They're 3-5. There's a lot of momentum building that they're going to still have a chance to win this division with 8 or 9 victories. Obviously, getting back Lamar Jackson was a huge boost. They won 28-6 over the Dolphins. Derrick Henry got his 100-plus yards rushing, 119 of them. Didn't get in the end zone. We saw a little bit more Keaton Mitchell than Justice Hill. There's kind of a brewing battle for the backup situation there. Hill is still playing the third downs, but when they're giving a rest on the early downs to Henry, it's actually been Mitchell. So there's maybe if Henry were to go down, it'd be Mitchell playing first and second downs and Hill still playing third downs. That's a situation to monitor closely. But Derrick Henry, 119 yards, caught a pass, didn't really do much, but he got his 119 yards. Lamar Jackson had 4 touchdown passes, only had 5 incompletions. Like they dismantled Miami here. It was 21-3 halfway through the third quarter. The game was over. Zay Flowers led the way, 5 for 64. Boring. Okay. And this is kind of, 4, 5, 6 catches, 45, 55, 65, 75 yards. It's 10, 11, 12 points a week from Flowers. It's totally fine. But the number one wide receiver on a team that scores 30 points a week when Lamar Jackson is the quarterback, the number one receiver on the team to have be like a 12-point-a-week guy in a PPR setup, we want more. Isaiah Likely was second on the team with 3 catches for 60 yards. Didn't get in the end zone, so rather boring fantasy game. Mr. Kohler, Charlie Kohler, did get in the end zone. He only saw 2 targets. He only ran 5 routes, and he got a touchdown. And this is the problem with the Ravens here is that they've got these 2 weapons at the tight end position in Likely and Andrews. And for some reason, Kohler got a touchdown. Like, what are you doing? Like, okay. So Kohler gets in the end zone. By the way, Mark Andrews had 2 more carries. He had 2 catches, both of them touchdown receptions. And then Rashad Bateman scored a touchdown. Rashad Bateman catches 2 passes every week. You can't start him and ever feel good about it. Kohler is just a get in the way of everybody else. Can't ever start him. It's Likely, Andrews, and Flowers. Those are the 3 guys in this offense from a pass catching perspective that have any interest. Lots of questions about Mark Andrews, not being covered last night, random touchdowns. Okay. But that's the nature of the position. It's something we've talked about here on the show and we talked about over in Discord frequently. And that is, you got to pick a tight end and just sit. Like trying to time it and this guy to that guy. Almost everyone that had Andrews probably dropped them. I'm not going to say it was the wrong decision because I know I've struggled giving advice to people with Andrews too. Andrews is in the tight end 8 to 15 range, which means is he a hold or is he a drop? He didn't do anything last night. Only had 3 targets, only had 2 catches. They were just both touchdowns, right? Interesting though, they do keep utilizing him in the running game. On the Dolphin side of things, this team is just terrible. As we discussed earlier, they fired their general manager. There's obviously concerns about their head coach getting, chucked here. Tua Tagovailoa is just, I don't know if he's regressing. I think he kind of is. But the offense is stagnant. There's just nothing here. They need big plays from Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle lost a 36-yard reception last night, or he would have had 120 yards. He ended up with 6 for 82. Greg Dulcich, who played like 19 snaps last week because of all the injuries they have at the tight end position, played more this week. I think he played 23 snaps this week. He got 5 catches for 49 yards. Don't really care about Greg Dulcich. Don't run to the waiver wire there. What we saw last night, I think, is top end. And then, again, that puts him with 15 other tight ends. So I'm not a Greg Dulcich guy. Malik Washington had 6 touches, which is a high watermark for him. 3 carries, 3 receptions. Of course, he also lost a fumble. We're still looking at a guy who touched the ball 6 times for 61 yards. This offense was, and I guess will continue to be Waddle catching a few passes and then all Devon Achane. Obviously, we had the injury to Ollie Gordon last night. We'll have to watch that one closely because Jalen Wright would be the guy stepping up if Gordon's ankle issue does indeed keep him out long term. Achane basically played 100% of the snaps in the second half after the injury to Gordon. He had another 20 touches last night. He's going to break down if they keep giving him the ball this much. The problem is they have no offense if they don't give him the ball. So the floor on Achane is extremely high. The ceiling's somewhat limited on week to week because, like last night, are they going to even score a touchdown? But when you're touching the ball 20 times and catching it 5 times a week, he had 6 last night. You know what's going on with Devon Achane. Okay, let's move on to the next situation here on the show. And again, we'll visit with Russell Clay here in about 6-7 minutes. So a little look at the Coffin Corner piece. You can find that over at fantasyguru.com. Basically, every Friday I write an article, where I review the numbers and try to point things out that aren't obvious, right? Try to point things out that make you go, isn't that a song? Things that make you go, I've always called it the Coffin Corner piece. It just happens to be on Halloween today. You going trick-or-treating, by the way? A lot of you have kids. You're going to go around with them tonight. I don't have kids, so I can't go trick-or-treating. And my neighborhood's kind of at the top of the hill, so kids don't walk up the hill. I live on a cul-de-sac, and I think everyone on the street has basically lived here for 30 years. So we're one of the few. There's 20 houses on the cul-de-sac. We're probably one of 2 or 3 couples that have bought a home here in the last decade. So there's not a lot of kids in the neighborhood. There's only one family that's got kids. So they always come. But the old days, I used to get hundreds of trick-or-treaters in my old home. My new one, we don't get much. Anyway, hope you have a nice trick-or-treating. Check that candy for razors. Not a real thing. Made up. It's a urban legend. Seaweed dog tag, seaweed tag. You should definitely go to your neighbors and ring the bell for candy. I actually have told this story before, Seaweed, but when I was 13, I went as Frankenstein. And I had a woman refuse to give me candy because she said I couldn't be 13 years old. I had green makeup on and I was wearing some shoulder pads and everything. When I was 13, I was 5'10", 180 pounds. I was a big kid. Literally a big kid. I was 6'2", I think 206 was my heaviest. 6'2", 206 as a 16-year-old. Now I'm about 6'4", about 190. So I actually weigh about right now what I weighed when I was 15. But anyway, a woman actually wouldn't give me candy because she thought I was an adult. I was 13. So yeah, there you go. The Coffin Corner piece, I point out some numbers that stand out. And, here, let's just throw a number out here. 2. So this comes out every Friday. It's part of the package. Click the subscribe tab in the top right corner. Send an email to support@fantasyguru.com. 2. What is the number 2? Is the target difference between Broncos team leader Courtland Sutton, who has 56, and Troy Franklin, who has 54. Did you realize that? Did you realize that Franklin and Sutton have a 2-target difference this season? Did you realize that Sutton only has 4 more receptions this season? Did you realize that Sutton has 1 fewer touchdown than Franklin this season? Now, there's a huge difference in yardage, 178-yard difference, huge yardage difference. But targets, receptions, and touchdowns are almost identical for Sutton and Franklin. Sutton's been more consistent on a weekly basis, but Franklin's had a couple of those spike weeks that bring the numbers pretty darn close. 5. How about this one? What's the number 5 stand for? The games in a row in which Jake Ferguson has failed to reach 50 yards. Now, he had a bagel last week. 1 target, no catches. Catastrophic failure. That's your guy gets hurt and it sucks and you deal with it. Your guy plays the game and catches no. Ugh. But 5 straight games, Jake Ferguson has been under 50 yards. And in fact, in those 5 games, he's averaging 4.8 catches. That's still fine. But 30.2 yards. Now, he's got 6 touchdowns in the 5 games, so no one cares. He's a tight end 1. 6 touchdowns in 5 games saves everything. But 4.8 catches for 30.2 yards. Put that in context. Dalton Schultz, for the season, is averaging 4.6 catches, which is 0.2 difference, exactly the same, for 44 yards. That's 14 yards more than where Jake Ferguson has been. And we're talking 5 games. That's a pretty big sample size. I don't know. By the way, Tucker Kraft has 6 touchdowns, matching that 6 all season, matching the 6 that Ferguson scored the last 5 games. He's averaging 4.3 catches an outing. Dalton Schultz is 4.6. So completely different, getting there totally differently, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, right? Exactamundo. 34. If Patrick Mahomes, who has 17 touchdown passes in 8 games, plays 16 games, as he often does, they sit him out, that kind of thing, we know. If he keeps his current pace up, plays 16 games, he'll throw 34 touchdown passes. Now, he had 26 and 27 the last 2 years. A lot of people down on him coming into this season. We didn't hear a lot of talk about him still being elite. We all know this. We've continued to back him over at fantasyguru.com. Okay. But he's on pace to go to 34 touchdowns, which after averaging 26 and a half the last 2 years, we're talking just passing. After averaging 26 and a half the last 2 years is a big jump. But is it a big jump? The 3 previous years to the last 2, he threw 38, 37, and 41 touchdowns. And oh, by the way, coming into this season, if we look at 2018 through 2024, look at all 7 of those seasons, you know what his average touchdown total is through the air? 35. What's he on pace for right now? 16 games, 34. If he plays 17 games, the number's above it. But this is basically who he's always been. Interesting how the perception changes, right? We talked about this too. In my Dynasty League, we redrafted this year. I took Patrick Mahomes as my starting quarterback. I love it. I mean, I had, to be fair, last year before we redrafted this year, I had Daniel Jones, Justin Fields, and Drake May. So I had a banger group of quarterbacks anyway. I would have been fine. But Patrick Mahomes is my starter right now. Feeling really, really good about this. And then finally, before we talk to Russell Clay, Russell Clay's there. Let's just pivot over to Russell Clay. For more of this, go to fantasyguru.com. Read my Coffin Corner piece. I know a couple people always comment on it each week, say they love it. Hopefully you'll enjoy it too. It's part of that seasonal package. Remember, right now, if you sign up at fantasyguru.com, you don't just get the seasonal package, right? Use that promo code GHOST20. But right now, when you sign up, send the note to support at fantasyguru.com or click the subscribe tab in the top right corner. You get all the football coverage we have, which means NFL and college. You get the seasonal coverage, the DFS coverage, and the betting coverage, all 3 of them for one low price. So that's whatever you want to do. You get every article, you get every live stream, you get every podcast, you get every rankings, you get every projection, you get every Discord room. So send that email to support at fantasyguru.com, support at fantasyguru.com, and get signed up with us over at FG and let us help you have some success. Let us help you have some fun. And let us help you realize that we shouldn't be called soup Nazis or fantasy football Nazis. Okay. Let's bring in Russell Clay. I don't know if Russ, I don't know. We've never really talked about it. I don't remember ever talking about if he's a Halloween guy. So I don't know. I don't know if he's going to go to a party. I don't know if he's going to appreciate the background I have today here with the Halloween. I don't know if he's dressed in a costume. Actually, I do know because I can see him in the green room. I don't know if he's wearing a costume today. Let's bring him in and see if Russell Clay is a scary fella. He's going to be scared or just going to ignore the whole darn thing. Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com. How you doing, Russ?
What's going on, Ray? I am always in favor of a costume, whether it's Halloween or not.
Oh,
so I'm in.
So like St. Patrick's Day, you get dressed up or whatever it might be?
Oh, it doesn't have to be a holiday. I'll just fire into something. It depends who we're around, right? The company you keep, but sure. So for instance, like your little setup here kind of makes me want to go get something on, right?
Yeah. I've got my, for those people that can't see me, I'm wearing my jacket, my suit jacket with my pumpkins on it. I actually have a suit jacket that's gray with spiders and cobwebs too. So I have I have 2 Christmas suits and I also have 2 Halloween suits.
Love it.
I might have too many costumes in the closet there, Russ. But anyway, I enjoy it. Thanks for taking time out of your special day, your trick-or-treating day, to join us. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. What do we think that the people are handing out nowadays? I feel like the kids are upgraded now. I feel like they get the king size bars and it's like a big deal now, right?
Yeah, I was telling the story. We live on a cul-de-sac at the top of the hill, so kids don't walk up the hill. The cul-de-sac, it's a very established neighborhood, so not a lot of kids. So we only, like last year, I think we got 2 groups. It's really sad. Like I'm used to like 100, 150, 200. My old house, I used to decorate and the whole thing. So my lady friend, I went to the store yesterday and I got her bag of candy because one bag of candy, unfortunately, is going to suffice, right? And she goes, "Did you get the 2 bars of chocolate?" I go, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Well, for the neighbor kids down the street." And I'm like, "Oh, damn, I forgot." So there are 2 kids that live down the street. They're like the only real kids on the street. So if they come, they get full-size candy bars. Everyone else will just be getting lollipops this week, Russ.
There you go. Okay. I was going to say, I was always happy with my my mini-size Snickers, but the kids will take what they can, right?
Absolutely. And this is actually kind of true, Gavin. That Ray keeps his Christmas suits with his caviar on the top shelf at the end of the cul-de-sac. You got to keep the caviar cold, man. Can't let it hit the sun. It's important. It's important. Absolutely. One lady said they're getting ramen. Candy is too expensive. I wouldn't have, like, as a youngster, depending how young, like a 12-year-old, I would have liked ramen.
Listen, Gavin, I'm going to look up flights now. Maybe I can hit Ray's neighborhood. Maybe I can get some caviar by this evening, right?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of caviar that's orange and black. Like, there's a lot, most of it actually. So yeah, we'll see. Russell Clay of fantasyguru.com. Thanks everybody for being in good mood and having good spirits and everything today. It's really appreciated. Let's get into some news here, Russ. Some of it good, some of it bad. And let's start out. Start out where the news is breaking. I already saw you tweeting your love of Parker Washington. Not really. On social media, you can follow him at Russell J. Clay. Travis Hunter hurts his knee. He's out 4 weeks at least because he's being placed on the IR. We don't really know. Talk us through, do we hold Hunter? Do we drop Hunter? Is it Parker Washington? Is it Dyami Brown? Does it matter? How worried are you about this passing attack that has struggled at times this year with your boy Trevor Lawrence?
So again, you mentioned the most important part here. The Trevor Lawrence Nation, we have accepted, I'll just speak for myself. I've kind of accepted this is another dud year. I will say, I think we'll be fine in terms of whatever this fantasy thing turns out to be. They're either on or they're off. And Dyami Brown has some good weeks, and he has some weeks where he drops 5 passes. So we know what that is. Parker Washington, a really solid talent. He had a kick return called back a few weeks ago, and is overall a really good after the catch guy. But when Parker Washington is a main guy in your offense in the NFL, that's just not what you want. So we are going to use him for the volume, but it's more Malik Washington-y than we like it to be, right? The hope is Brian Thomas returns to form, but he doesn't look anything like the guy we saw last year. So overall, not good. Travis Hunter, easily the most athletic player on that team and talented. So yeah, it sucks. There's no good spin on this, I don't think.
Is Brian Thomas looking at double-digit targets now? Is that, I mean, I know you're right, but is that kind of, they have no choice?
You'd think, but I've watched a lot of games this year where he gets 8 targets and then they're going to third string tight ends. And
right.
So Liam Cohen, I believe in Liam Cohen. Hopefully he'll right this ship, but it's been really ugly before the bye.
Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com. I don't know about you, Russ, but we're both in Discord answering questions a lot. And I have seen the name Bo Nix come up repeatedly, and it's never, I've got Bo Nix, I'm happy. It's always, I've got Bo Nix, and I'm not sure. I got Bo Nix, and he's my second quarterback, and I'm thinking of dropping him. I got Bo Nix, I'm going to trade him for Kyle Manungai. And it's like, whoa, okay. It's been uneven this season, but Bo Nix is like quarterback 5 right now. Like, he's been banging out touchdowns here the last couple of weeks. Who is Bo Nix? Because it seems like a lot of people, maybe someone dropped him early and they grabbed him as a second quarterback, and now they're like, what do I do with this guy? And I've told multiple people, I hate carrying 2 quarterbacks in a 1-quarterback league, but you can't drop Bo Nix to the waiver wire. He's a quarterback 1 right now.
We're trying to help y'all. We might be mad at you too, but we want you guys to not be tilting here. This is the goal. So when I see a question like Drake May or Jalen Hurts in a 1 QB league, I say, oh no, this is pain for you. Or, I'm seeing a lot of Bo Nix versus Lamar,
right?
Bo Nix versus Mahomes. Yep. And I just say, listen, we've been playing fantasy football for a long time. I don't know that you're going to be able to get that right more than 50% of the time, maybe less than 50% of the time. And even if you get the matchup right for Bo Nix and you nail the prediction, he scored like 30 of his 40 points in the fourth quarter 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So even if the matchup's bad, this dude's a gunslinger. It's wild, it's good and bad, and every game seems like some type of movie where it starts off bad, it gets good, it gets bad again, it gets good again. So with a lot of these quarterbacks, especially the young ones, I would just start them. Him and Drake May specifically, I'm just starting them unless I have a Jalen Hurts or a Mahomes or a Lamar or Josh Allen, in which case I'm just starting them and I'm dropping the other guy. I'm just not thinking about it. I want to think less. And so a few points here and there for me. I'm just letting, I'm accepting maybe I don't get 100% the best possible outcome, but I'm sure thinking a lot less, Ray. I just pick a guy in a 1 QB league.
We tell people this all the time, and it's really tough because no one wants to do this. And it's not because we're trying to abdicate responsibility for making the call on a weekly basis, because of what Russell said. The gap between most of these guys is a couple of points anyway, right, on the majority of weeks. And the idea that you're going to pick the week where the guy gets the extra touchdown, or the week where the guy doesn't get the touchdown, or the week where he throws for 290 yards versus 247 yards, it just doesn't work. People have been trying to do it forever. And I've even seen some questions lately where people said, look, I've got two quarterbacks and I always choose wrong. That's the point. Choose one guy, set that depth chart and let it go. It just, like you said, don't get sick and ulcers and nausea and all that kind of stuff. Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com. We see Manny here, by the way, with a comment. As long as they're not giving out circus peanuts or Nico waivers, those are awful.
What Manny, is your favorite the Necco wafers, Ray. Oh,
those are like they used to put them in like the little gun and shoot the little. Remember those? That's kind of what they are, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Favorite candy, least favorite candy, Russ?
I mean, it's got to be Reese's as the favorite. Okay. I like the sour stuff too.
Okay.
But that has a time limit. You can't eat too much of any of that or your mouth is destroyed. So I'm a Reese's for sure. Reese's anything, really.
Okay. But not Nico wafers.
No, or black licorice.
Oh, black licorice is gross. Oh, I totally agree.
Yeah, no.
Some people love that. No, not this guy.
Yeah.
One of those guys is Angelo. He loves Nico's and black licorice. Well, we're not going to be friends, Angelo. I'm sorry.
Oh, Angelo.
Yeah. I liked you before that, Angelo. Now that comment, you're down to the bottom. Oh, boy. Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com. Tyler Shough has taken over quarterback for the Saints. Yay, about time. What does this do for the offense?
I don't know. All right, here's the thing. I'm making a personal stance, and projections aren't going to tell you this. Projections are going to say the Titans are an NFL team and the Saints are an NFL team, and you should play some of these guys. And that's going to be true some weeks. Like Chris Olave, you're exempt. You can start Chris Olave. He's the man. The rest of these fellas, is Jamoke a slur?
I was thinking that actually the exact same word.
I don't think we can say that, but that's what they used to say in the old Italian movies.
Right.
I don't know who any of these people are. I don't want to know. I don't want to play Tony Pollard anymore. I don't want to play Devin Neal. I don't want to play Juwan Johnston, even though he's been all right with Taysom Hill back. I just don't want to do any of this, Ray. We're mid-season. I guess if you got a bye week filler, you can throw maybe a Rasheed Shaheed in there.
Right.
But most of these guys are just pain every week. And I like what Kellen Moore's doing overall, but he's working with rough materials for this season. Jabroni. There you go, Manny. Jabroni. Yeah.
I remember that was from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They had a whole episode with Jabroni. Yeah, I like that term. Jabroni. They're calling everyone a Jabroni.
Yeah, great show.
Man, Manny and Russell Clay here on the show, and Angelo and Tony and Mr. Baderman and Ethan, I think it is, Tristan, everyone, thanks for all your continued support and all that kind of stuff. Been worried about Olave all week, says Drew. I mean, I've heard this, and I think Tyler Beaker said this yesterday. I think he said something along the lines of ceiling is now there for Olave where it wasn't with Rattler, but the floor is gone where it was there for Rattler. Is that fair?
That's my thought process as well, where we do not know what we're getting with Tyler Shough. At least through a year and a half, we knew what we were getting from Rattler. It wasn't good. It wasn't quite Necco wafers. Maybe like if they put chocolate on Necco wafers, that's Spencer Rattler.
Okay.
Tyler Shough is like, okay, maybe this is a Milky Way, or maybe this is just an empty package and there's nothing in it,
empty
right?
Box of nerds.
Yeah, so we don't know. Maybe it's just an already eaten wrapper. So yeah.
What about the situation? You mentioned Patrick Mahomes earlier. Obviously, Rasheed Rice has come back and helped this offense become way more dynamic. We've seen kind of the return of Kelsey now. The field's opening up a little bit more. Who is Xavier Worthy? Is he 5 for 50 each week? Is he a guy that doesn't really have a ceiling anymore? There'll be a game or two where it pops, but is he a bankable start every week now at this point with Rice back?
Oh, man. I want him to be, and I won't say I was against Rasheed Rice, but I was kind of hoping Worthy would be the guy. It's pretty clearly Rice. We're waving the white flag on this take. It's done. It's Rice. Everyone who was high on Rice, you were right. Just whatever, all right? You were right. So, yeah, Worthy is still probably a wide receiver 3 flex guy, especially this week with all the buys. But, overall, it's Rice. It's dumping it off to Kelsey. It's doing a bunch of goofy stuff. And then it's Worthy if he can get deep here and there. So, yeah, he's a good player, probably more valuable in real football. But they're not using him. With Rice there, he's just not going to be a featured guy.
Russell Clay of fantasyguru.com. You can follow him on Twitter X at Russell J. Clay. What about the scenario that we have to deal with when we talk about the Raiders? They're coming off a bye week. The offense has been stuck in neutral. The expectation as we record this Friday morning is both Brock Bowers and Jakobi Meyers return to the offense. Obviously, huge additions or re-additions into this lineup. There have been reports about Meyers potentially being traded. I don't know the efficacy of that. Who is Jakobi Meyers? Is he somebody that they should lean on more? All of us say yes. Is he somebody they will lean on more? Are you starting him with any confidence? Are you adding him if he's available because you think he might get traded? Talk us through the whole scenario with Jakobi Meyers.
Historically, I'm not really a huge Jakobi Meyers guy, so I haven't thought much about Jakobi Meyers this week. I know a lot of people have him. Mm-hmm. Here's my thing. I feel like I'm the dude in the Big Lebowski right now saying, this will not stand, man. It's the Geno thing. I'm out. I'm out on this Raiders offense beyond Bowers and Genty until there's a change at quarterback. So that means I'm out on the wide receivers. I know Trey Tucker's had moments. I know Meyers has certainly had moments. You check his Pro Football Reference page, and you're like, he had 1,000 yards last year. He was like good.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I don't think of him that way, but he has been good. So if you have him, you're hoping for a trade to a really good quarterback, or maybe he goes to the Patriots, right? Maybe they could use some randomness or some random good young quarterback. But overall, it's, I just can't do it beyond Bowers. I just can't watch Geno again. I just can't do it.
Are you a chicken nugget guy, Russ?
I mean, any type of chicken nugget, and questionable if that is chicken nugget right. for McDonald's there, but I will eat them. Yes.
Angelo might be getting back in my good graces because he says he's got a bunch of old chicken nugget sauces to give the kids.
Sweet and sour, Angelo. I'd be happy with one of those. Yeah.
All right. Russ is coming. He wasn't going to trick or treat. Now he's doing it. Where do you live, Angelo? Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com. Don't tell us where you live, Angelo. Someone will leave that information. What about Jameson Williams? He's done nothing.
No.
I said the other day, look, if Jameson Williams got hurt and they put Isaac Tesla in the maybe they even be better. Like Williams has done nothing. He had 1,000 yards last year. We know he's a massive big play threat. We're hearing rumblings from the team, the coaching staff saying we haven't utilized him right. Well, no S. Sherlock. Is this the week it happens? Is it going to happen? Do you care? If it happens once, does it matter? Like Jameson Williams has done nothing, and the Lions offense hasn't really missed a beat.
Yeah, rough year for him. It's unclear what's going on there, but the plays just haven't been hitting. Of course, there could be a few big plays to end the season. And you know, when we look at Jameson Williams' profile and how he's been used with the Lions, you know, if he has a few 150-yard games in the second half, he's going to end with 1,000 yards, and we're going to look up again and say, but he had 1,000 yards, and it's going to be 2 big games in the second half that make it happen. So not been fun for fantasy folks. So yeah, he's got like 300 yards through 7 games. If he has 2 big games in the second half, he might end up 800, 900, 1,000 yards. But this is what it is with deep threats, right? And that's why he's really a best ball guy versus a start sit guy every week.
Christian Watson, the same guy? I mean, Christian Watson returns. Christian Watson has 4 catches for 85 yards. Everyone's in on Christian Watson. Everyone wants to play Christian Watson, as I have detailed on the show repeatedly, as Jeff Mans has done, as you have done. Christian Watson he's really as hit or miss as Jameson Williams. He really is. His career is basically 5 games. And, you know, the Packers, we've talked about the Packers receiving core. What's that going to mean? Remember, they didn't have Wicks on the field last week. They didn't have, you know, Reed on the field. Christian Watson, yeah, you want him on your team, sure. Yeah, you want to put him in there during bye weeks or injuries because, you know, he can always go for 18 points. But is he a trustable guy on a weekly basis?
Yeah, for as long as he's healthy, right? For as long as he's healthy. We don't know how long this is going to last. This is, you know, this is the glass vase. Can we carry it? Will it make it through the move, right, to the new house?
Right.
I hope so. It looked amazing last week. He was fantastic. He brings an entirely different element to that offense that, you know, nobody else does. And here's the thing, Jaden Reed's set to come back relatively soon. This offense is going to be a real problem if everyone can stay healthy. The question is, can they? Because none of them have been able to do that other than Dobbs. So I like Watson. I think you can start him with confidence every week going forward, but we know what it is. We know what the deal is. It's not a talent thing, and it never has been. It's just, can he stay healthy for a full game even?
Is Matthew Golden rosterable at this point?
No, not this year. Unfortunately, you wonder why they drafted him in the first round. Kind of feel like it's because it's a little Trey Harris-y, where the Chargers drafted Trey Harris and then Quentin Johnston said, hey, I'm going to catch 7 touchdowns in the first 5 weeks because that's my role. And that's kind of what's happening here with Golden, where all these guys are playing well. So Golden was the Watson replacement, but Watson's still there.
What about Quentin Johnston? You brought him up there. I mean, he started the first 4 games. He's catching 5 passes every week, 70 yards, getting in the end zone. Last couple of weeks, he's not doing anything. He hasn't been fully healthy. Ladd McConkey, who started slow, now Ladd McConkey's coming. A lot of people thought they had a win with Quentin Johnston because they picked him in the 16th round or picked him up off the waiver wire, and it looked like it for a month. Hasn't the last couple of weeks. What's the second half going to look like for Quentin Johnston?
It's tough to say, right? It's real tough to say. They have so many weapons in this offense. I hate every part of it. I love this offense, and I want to be in on all these guys, and then they're rotating in 47-year-old Keenan Allen, and then they're not giving anything to McConkey, and now they are. And Oronde Gadsen looks like Antonio Gates 2.0, And we have Trey Harris, the rookie, makes a big play here and there. And then we got Quentin Johnston, who's kind of healthy, kind of not. Former first-round pick, looks good. I don't know. I know McConkey's good, and he's going to be an every week starter from here on out. Beyond that, we're in a strange place with this entire offense. We got when Hampton comes back, what's that going to look like? So McConkey's the one constant. Oronde Gadsen is the guy I'm really watching right now.
Talk more about him, because he's obviously, I mean, he was somebody that people picked up, and you look up now and he's averaging 6 catches for 100 yards the last 3 games. Like, boom, it's in your face. And if you look at the numbers, all of a sudden you realize this guy's caught 5 passes in 4 or 6 games, gotten in the end zone. You mentioned Antonio Gates, which for those people that don't remember Antonio Gates, he's a Hall of Fame tight end, played for the Chargers. And the numbers have looked like that recently. You're expecting the second half to be something that Gadsen continues on this promising start?
So this is one of those where it started off the season. They gave him a few snaps here and there to test out the waters. They liked him in training camp. 5th round pick, not really ever expecting anything from a 5th round pick in year 1. And he just kept dominating with the snaps they gave him. And now they're at a point where I don't think they can unring that bell with him. I don't think he's going to produce like this for the rest of the year, but these last 2 games have been enough to say, okay, they can't ignore this. This has to be a thing. He has great chemistry with Rivers already. So I do think he's an every week starter at tight end right now. Where this leads us when the folks of the defense starts to shift towards him, that's when we'll start to see more games from, all these other guys we just mentioned. But yeah, it is a mess offensively. We gotta hope the defense continues to stink and Herbert still throws 40 to 50 times a game. Otherwise, Ray, we know what happens. On 30 passing attempts, you're not going to be able to sustain these 5 guys, right?
Yeah, and so what you're saying is that you believe, you're not saying Gadsen's going to be elite the rest of the way, but you're saying he's a weekly starter, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And I think that plays into what you just said there, and this does get lost a lot of times where people, volume, and you hear it all the time in the fantasy space, volume is key. That's like all that really matters in the fantasy space. And if they're throwing the ball 42 times, there are 7 targets for Gadsen. If they're throwing it 32 times, well, maybe it's 4 targets for Gadsen. He better get in the end zone, right? So, it's why, predicting game flow is so important. It's why the Game Script article that Tyler Beaker writes, and I think comes out Saturdays, is so important to read. Getting a handle on that is extremely important. Another guy we're trying to get a handle on, and this is the guy that you and I feel bad asking you because we've legitimately talked about Kyle Pitts for years now. I've asked you, who is Kyle Pitts 14 times. Kyle Pitts is surging. Kyle Pitts looks consistent. He is definitely, with the receiving core of this team, you can make a strong argument that he's the number 2 pass catching option here, maybe 3rd if you count Pajan. What are we getting from him the rest of the way? I mean, Penix hasn't played great. Cousins didn't come in and do anything. The offense really seems to be about running the football. But what do you know? Kyle Pitts producing on a weekly basis here.
Let's be clear. I'm happy about this, but this feels like, I don't know any pitchers. Maybe a bad pitcher throws like two hitless innings and you're already kind of like on no hit watch. You're like, okay, we've got 2 good fantasy starts in a row for Kyle Pitts. Everyone just be quiet. Let's just pretend this isn't even happening. Don't even look at him. Just keep starting him. And let's hope this continues. So I've been duped before by this man many a time. And I'm going to hope this continues silently.
Okay.
But I am not going to do any victory laps right now. But yeah, the last 2 games, 19 targets, caught all 9 of the targets. It's a totally different role than he's had historically. He is dink and dunk guy. So we'll take that. We'll take this role and let's keep it rolling. But yeah, I'm not gonna hype up Kyle Pitts at all. I'm just gonna say I would be starting him, and that's it.
What about Drake London? We got a question here from Stephen de Guzman who says, what do you think about Drake London the rest of the way? I'm thinking of acquiring him to improve the wide receiver core. We just talked about it. We don't really know who the quarterback's going to be this week. It's expected to be Penix. There are still reports that potentially Cousins could get traded. How can they trade Cousins when Penix isn't even healthy? I don't think they're doing that. I think the timing of everything is really not good for this team. But they got rid of Ray McLeod, Darnell Mooney, David Sills, Cordell Hodge. Like, they got nobody at the wide receiver spot. So we're getting 10 targets a week to London most of the time. Is it more of the same in the second half? Is it 5 for 50 every week? Are we going to see more of the 7 for 100 from London? What do you think?
We need Michael Penix back, Ray. And I thought Kirk Cousins would have been an okay jump in there and be fine guy. It's not fine. And I hope I hope nobody watching, I hope your favorite team does not trade for Kirk Cousins as a backup plan, because it is over. But Drake London's very good. He's an enormous part of this offense. And if he plays, he's going to be fine, Steven. So I know he didn't play last week. That hurt your lineup. But when he plays, he's going to be fine.
Luca Peterson has a question going back to the discussion we were having about, Bo Nix, and you get what you get from him and that kind of thing. Is Caleb Williams in that group with Drake and Nix? For me, he's not. He doesn't run. Not that Nix does, but he does. Jeff Mans and I were talking about this earlier this week on the Elite Sports Show, SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, Monday through Friday from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. So it's about an hour after this show. Caleb's had some nice games. He's had some blah games. Overall, I think the returns are kind of not bad, but not. I don't consider him to be in the Knicks Drake May zone today. I would have 2 months ago, but I don't today. What about you?
No, he's not. He's not. The running game is doing really well right now, which is kind of imploding Caleb's fantasy value. All the production's going to the running game right now. I don't know that changes. The Lions were notorious for having Gibbs and Montgomery thrive.
Right.
Goff obviously got his numbers off when he had, a bunch of special weapons, but that first couple of years, it was not, elite fantasy production for Goff. So Caleb is 23. I am just saying, let's not give up on Caleb yet as a player, but fantasy wise, it's not been great. And I don't see it getting much better. They're not asking too much of him, which is good,
right,
as he develops. But, developing an NFL quarterback versus getting our fantasy points, sometimes two very different things. So it's not look great for fantasy. I don't know if it gets much better.
Tristan Ward's got a question here about your man. I'm going to call him your man now, Parker Washington.
Yes.
Parker Washington and Kamari DK. To me, DK is a really fascinating guy because he's hit 70 yards each of the last 2 weeks. There are rumors that Calvin Ridley could be dealt. So Calvin Ridley's on the waiver wire, folks. You might give serious consideration to adding him. This offense is bad. You said it earlier with the backfield. Like, do you want, is it DK or Washington for you? Like, who are you taking a shot on here for that end of the bench kind of guy? I know DK showed up the last 2 weeks, but that offense is bad in Tennessee.
Neither, hopefully. I'd probably go Washington just because Trevor actually targets him pretty healthy, even with Travis Hunter in the game. So I would go with Washington there just because he has a more locked in status with that team. But yeah, DK's been playing well. The only problem is a lot of that production we're banking on garbage time, which I guess we can with that Titans team. But again, Titans, I'm having a tough time getting there with any of those guys.
Ethan B's got a question about Parker Washington, DJ Moore. We just talked about Caleb Williams, or Jalen Coker. For me, Coker's out. I'm just, to me, he's catching 3 passes for 32 yards. Who cares? That's me. Maybe you disagree, but Coker, Moore, or Washington in a PPR setup, Russ, who you got?
Especially with Dalton, guys. Dalton and Cousins, you just can't. You can't right now. DJ Moore, I would play, but no, the role is not what we're used to with DJ Moore at this point.
Titan style got Pickens and Chase, so 2 great wide receivers to start off here. But then we need 2 other guys. And we have to make a decision between Jameson Williams, who we discussed, Calvin Ridley, who I just mentioned. I don't even know if Calvin Ridley's going to play. So, I don't get a good sense on that. has to be Jameson Williams of these two guys, I guess. Russ, would you say that if Ridley plays, you're still going Williams or not?
I'd just go Williams. Yeah. No Titans for me the rest of the year. Titan style. No offense. But you know what? If anyone would get it, Titan style would get it if you are a Titan fan.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. Ethan's also got another question. Kenneth Walker or Bam Knight? Bam Knight has got that great matchup with the Dolphins. The Dallas Cowboys, if I could finally get it out. I'm looking at my vent there in the back, so it was throwing me off. So Bam Knight's got the great matchup against Dallas this week. Kenneth Walker is better than Charbonnet, but he's sharing the backfield, all that kind of stuff. We know that. Walker or Knight for upside? Is there an easy answer here, Russ?
There is no upside, my friend, but I would go Ken Walker every time. I wouldn't think about it.
Oh, look at that. See? Decisive. Let's see if there's any other. I'm just going back. We've got so many comments here about Candy. It's hard to find it. I'm in a 10-team league. I avoided Tracy and put a waiver wire claim in for Hunt, but I woke up and Tracy was still there, so I grabbed him for the heck of it. Your thoughts on Tyrone Tracy? We've talked about him a lot on the show this week. What's your take on him as he's basically taking over the backfield for Scatterbill?
Yeah, with Jackson Darts, good setup. Any running back is going to do pretty well. They're not going to do as well as Scatterbill, but Tracy's as explosive, good receiver, should be a good match with Dart.
Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com. As always, Russ, I want to thank you for jumping on the show today on a Friday. Happy Halloween to you and everybody else. Folks, click the subscribe tab in the top right corner. Send an email to support@fantasyguru.com. Use that promo code GHOST20, GHOST, GHOST20 for a 20% discount. We've got all the products available, including the MVP plan over at fantasyguru.com. You see it on the screen there. Basically everything we cover besides football and baseball. We've got the triple pack for football. If you want to get seasonal football, DFS football, betting football, all of them is one package. You can do that as well. Got a lot of things going over there at the website, including a lot of your great work there, Russ.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. We are heating up with the football season. We are midway. This is a big time of year. We have our live stream, a bunch of other good stuff. SiriusXM on Sunday evenings and college football. I'll be on the college football live stream tonight with a few of those fellows. So join for that if you like college football. And yeah, we got a lot of good stuff out.
You got the circus show today too. You're doing 3 shows today, correct?
Yeah. We got a full day, Ray. We got a full day
doing the flowers thing there. Just doing every show there's available. On Sundays over on SiriusXM from 11 to 1 Eastern, Bob Harris and Jeff Mans are on in the morning before the games, and then in the evening, Russ is on with Justin Fensterman, who you hear on Wednesdays. Russ and Justin are on from 6 to 9 Eastern, correct?
Correct.
So start out with us, end with us. And then come back here on Monday for me to review everything as well, spending a full hour going back and forth on all the Sunday game action. Russ, thanks for your time today. We'll talk to you soon, which would be next Friday. But as you said, keep the vocal cords going. This is show 1 of 3. I'm sure you'll kill it today, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thanks, Ray.
You got it. For Russell Clay, I'm Ray Flowers. It's been Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. Don't forget to go to SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, the Elite Sports Show with Jeff Mans. Happy Halloween. Have some fun. Get some scares. Give some scares. But be safe, everybody. We'll see you on Monday.